June 25, 2009. Web traffic searching for a single name surged so fast that major news sites, search engines, and social platforms simply stopped responding. Television networks broke into their scheduled programming. In offices, restaurants, and public events across the globe, screens switched to breaking news alerts, and people stopped whatever they were doing to watch. Within hours, massive crowds assembled outside hospitals, childhood homes, and public squares. It became one of the largest spontaneous morning events ever recorded. The center of this global event was a rented mansion in Los Angeles, where a 50-year-old man had just suffered a severe medical emergency. Paramedics transported him to the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. Despite more than an hour of aggressive resuscitation efforts by the medical staff, the damage was irreversible. At 2:26 p.m., he was pronounced dead. How does an entertainer with hundreds of millions of dollars, a massive private staff, and access to the world's best medical care die in a suburban bedroom just weeks before a massive concert tour? The immediate answer emerged weeks later from the Los Angeles County coroner. The official cause of death was acute intoxication. The primary substance found in his system was propofol. It is a high-grade, powerful anesthetic, distinct from standard consumer sedatives. Its specific purpose is to render a patient completely unconscious before a major surgery. Because it heavily suppresses breathing, medical professionals only administer it in highly controlled environments. It requires constant tracking of heart rate and oxygen levels, with emergency resuscitation equipment standing inches away. Jackson received this substance in a standard residential bed, without standard monitoring equipment, and without a specialized surgical team. The toxicology report outlines what caused his heart to stop, but it fails to explain why a pop singer was relying on an operating room anesthetic in his own home. To find that answer, we have to look at the months leading up to that morning. By early 2009, Jackson's financial situation had deteriorated. Between maintaining multiple large properties, funding private security teams, and covering ongoing legal fees, his debt had climbed into the hundreds of millions. He needed an immediate influx of cash. The solution was a return to live performing. In March, he stood before a crowd in London to announce, "This is it." The original contract called for a 10-show residency. But when ticket sales opened, the system experienced extreme demand, selling out at a record pace. Promoters quickly added dates to meet the response. The 10-show run rapidly expanded into a grueling 50-show contract. What began as a financial lifeline morphed into an immense commitment. He was now bound to execute an extensive, high-energy stadium tour. The public expected the energetic dancer they remembered from the 1980s. His physical reality was entirely different. Decades of athletic performing had worn down his joints. On top of that, he had suffered severe scalp burns during a 1984 commercial shoot, leading to a long history of medical treatments and lingering chronic pain. The combination of persistent physical discomfort and the extreme anxiety of the 50-show contract caused a massive disruption in his body's ability to sleep. This chart illustrates the biological impact of severe sleep deprivation. As days without deep sleep accumulate, a person's memory, coordination, and physical stamina plummet past a threshold of critical impairment. Without rest, rehearsal became agonizing. Jackson began seeking out doctors who could provide stronger chemical solutions to force his brain to shut down. For a 50-year-old tasked with executing 50 world-class athletic performances, the inability to sleep created a career-ending, financially ruinous biological crisis. To manage his health during the demanding rehearsal schedule, Jackson hired a private physician, Dr. Conrad Murray. On June 24th, Jackson pushed through another exhausting rehearsal. He returned to his rented home late that night, completely drained, yet his brain remained awake. Through the early morning hours of June 25th, Murray administered a series of standard sedatives. Hour after hour passed, and the medications failed to induce sleep. By mid-morning, out of options and desperate for rest before his next rehearsal, Jackson requested the surgical anesthetic. Murray complied, setting up an intravenous drip of propofol. The intersection of an exhausted body, hundreds of millions of dollars in corporate pressure, and a physician willing to bypass safety protocols locked in the morning's tragic outcome. Because the drug was administered by another person outside of a safe medical environment, the Los Angeles coroner officially classified his death as a homicide. A jury examined the timeline, the lack of monitoring equipment, and the drugs recovered from the scene. In 2011, Dr. Murray was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter for his clinical negligence. Blaming a single doctor ignores the ecosystem that put him in that room. Murray supplied the chemical, but the vast machinery of celebrity created the desperate demand for it. The young boy from Gary, Indiana, who loved music, had slowly become an isolated corporation, expected to generate endless revenue regardless of his physical condition. The anesthetic was the physical mechanism that ended his life. His existence was defined by the crushing weight of an industry requiring perfection at all costs. We know the clinical details of his final hours. The harder question is whether any human body could withstand the physical and psychological toll of holding the highest level of fame on Earth.